We may live. We may live 5,000 miles from Lincoln Financial Field, but what we lack in proximity, we make up for in film study. And starting next week, we will be bringing back our in-depth film breakdowns from across the pond and the Sooner State. Welcome to On the Shane page. I'm your host, Shane Half. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHalfNFL. And I'm joined, as always, by BGN's own film guru, Jonny Page. Give him a follow on Twitter at JohnnyPage9. Jonny, how you doing this evening?
Man, it's been so long you couldn't remember how to edit the screen. I enjoyed that, the nice little break at the start. Yes, I'm doing very well.
They changed the whole interface. It used to just pop off the screen automatically, and now I have to take it off. And so we're getting our preseason reps in, Jonny.
Basically, I guess, sorry. I mean, I didn't even realize this was live, by the way, so I'm not even in my usual spot because I'm away tomorrow packing. I've got a very short amount of time. Did not realize we were going live at all until about 2 minutes ago. So yeah, I guess we should apologise to anyone who's listened to us and we just haven't been here. Shane hates football over the summer, basically, and I'm the opposite. All I've done is watch football, which is probably terrible for my mental health going into the season. But yeah, anyone who follows me online knows I'm basically doing a scouting academy. I've probably watched about 12 hours, Shane, and that's not an exaggeration, of offensive line coaching clinics this week, sorry. What day is it? I guess it's Monday, so last week as well, last 7 days. So all I've been doing is watching football, but not really been writing about it or podcasting very much. So yeah, we are pretty much back now. We're pretty much back. The Patreon is where we will live for most of our stuff, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm looking forward to actual football, even though I hate preseason, probably more than the off-season.
Yes.
To be honest, I think I'd rather watch draft prospects than the Eagles' backups in the fourth quarter. But anyway, in all honesty, it is good. And yeah, it does feel around the corner, doesn't it? When you get ESP tweeting Jalen Hurts training camp stats, you know you're very near.
Yeah, I mean, based on the training camp stats, is it going to be a good year or a bad year? You can't tell because there's no correlation whatsoever, but it'll be fun to find out. I always look forward to the first preseason game. And then after I watch the first preseason game, I'm usually like, oh yeah, this is terrible and we learned nothing. Fast forward. And so I will be watching with bated breath on Saturday, contemplating doing a post-game show on Saturday. I'll announce that later on if I decide to do that.
Yeah, I'll be on holiday, so I'm not getting up at stupid o'clock to do a reaction on holiday. I'm taking my laptop already. I think there's only so much. I'm going to be watching offensive line film again, but there's only so much I can do. I think if I mention on top of that, I'm also going to be watching Eagles preseason and then doing a podcast game after the game. I probably won't be too popular in my household, so I will leave that one to you this week, Shane.
Yeah, I mean the game starts at midnight your time. That's not the worst. You can make it work.
It could be worse. It could be worse, but it could be significantly better as well. Right, we haven't got too long, so let's chat. Do you want to talk a little bit about Patreon, seeing as this is going out on the feed, so we can convince everyone to pay us money, because that's what we're here for, of course.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you like our free content, you will surely like our paid content. So those of you that are watching, I'm going to put a graphic up on the screen. If you are just listening, we'll talk about it so you kind of know what's going on here. But Jonny and I launched a Patreon, what was it, 2 years ago when BGN or SB Nation canned the BGN podcast feed. And so we were independent for a while. Now our podcasts go out through Fans First Sports Network, but we still run the Patreon alongside. And so we have, it's Jonny and I and another guy, Philly Wannabe GM, who was on some of our post-game shows last year. If you listen to the Big-Legged Waistbenders podcast in the lead up to the draft, that's him. The three of us are going to be pumping out so much content this year. And so there's 4 tiers to our Patreon. We have a free tier. All you have to do is create a Patreon account and go join. You don't even have to put in payment information. And in that free tier, you're going to get a weekly newsletter from Jonny that I'll let him talk about. And you will also get ad-free versions of Big-Legged Waistbenders, which is Philly Wannabe GM's podcast, of On the Shane page, and of Chalk Talk, which is my whole NFL recap show with Mark. And so go listen to him on the podcast feed. There's other shows on the podcast feed, but those get ads inserted into them. That's how we make a little money off the podcast feed. As a free member, you can get ad-free versions of those podcasts. So if you don't like the ads, You can load it into an RSS feed through Patreon. It's really easy to do. You can still listen to it in your podcasting app. You just won't get the ads. And then additionally, you'll get Jonny's newsletter every week. So Jonny, tell the people about your newsletter.
Yeah, I just thought I didn't do enough work, Shane, so I thought I'd add something else to my workload. Because why not? No, I guess all my writing is film, and I said this in number one. I think I've done 7 now. And I do them every Friday morning. At the moment, when work comes back, it might be Friday evening if I don't get around to it. But I wanted to be a journalist growing up and then hated journalism, so I didn't want to do that. But all my stuff is film stuff, and that means I don't really get any chance to talk about like random stuff. A little bit of life, a little bit of culture, a little bit around the NFL. There's just not really a place for that. So I thought I would just like sum up my weekly thoughts, I guess. So at the moment it's very off-season heavy. But obviously during the season it will get a bit more sort of film heavy, but it won't be a repeat of the film stuff. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but it might be just some more like personal thoughts or things that I've watched that week around the NFL, things that have caught my attention, something that I might not talk about in an Eagles All-22 review. So yeah, we don't need to go into too much detail, do we, on every single membership outside of that, really, because people can see the graph. I will tweet about it. I'll also write about it in my newsletter. I think the thing that's going to be really cool is obviously you guys aren't idiots, and I never want to take people to be like dishonest with people. The best one is the most expensive one, and I think the cool one is the preview. I think I got to a place I was happy with last year. Never done previews, and it was really cool, and I'm saying this selfishly because I'm learning like everyone else, but there were things that I would say on film, and then I was like, I saw that. That's what I said would happen, or I'd said the Eagles would do that, or I told you they might do this, and that was really nice. So I think I figured out quite a nice balance there, and those previews take time. That's why they're in the $7 tier. Wannabe GM is doing a run game review. He's been grinding the Packers film, and he's known as like a Fangio expert. Anyone on Blue Sky knows he's like a Fangio guy. He's been on PHOI talking Fangio stuff before. He's doing a defense review as well, but what he's also going to do is chart stuff, because charting online is very hit or miss. Well, it's not very good, basically. So he's going to chart every run and every coverage call. So in the $7 tier, if you want to know, I don't know, it's week 4, how much power the Eagles have run compared to outside zone, compared to inside zone, when have they run them, what personnel, all of that data will be available on the $7 tier. And obviously on the $5 tier, Shane, you've also got your QB review. So QB School himself, at Shane Haff. It's always great when QB School produces one after your one on Hertz, and you text me like, oh my God.
I hate it when he beats me to press, though.
My homework is going to get marked in real time here. But yeah, we've got a lot. We do have a lot. We're going to be very busy. Boring plea. This stuff takes a lot of time. So if you want to support us, and I do honestly think you'll get a lot out of it if you're a serious Eagles fan, speak to us. Look at what we've got going on. We're always online. And we haven't even mentioned my Discord. I mean, there's about 5,000 messages in my Discord and God knows how many chats every day. The community is very busy. And that's also part of the $3. So yeah, if you like anything we've done in the past, please... I guess support us. I will just say one thing, Shane. We mentioned the slight change on the Shane page as well. Sorry for free listeners. So that's a tiny minor change, shall we say.
By the way, before Jonny, we are going to answer some mailbag questions, so don't tune out if you got no interest in Patreon. We're going to have some football content in a second, but we did want to talk about
show notes. First 10 minutes. We've got 1 minute left, and then we'll say first 10 life update, next 20 football. So you've got 55 seconds for that to work.
Well, I'm going to need another minute, so because I do want to run down. So, yeah, we have 138 members in our Patreon Discord, and everything from we talk video games, movies that just came out, to football stuff, to other sports. So, so our $3 a month tier, you're going to get access to that Discord, and in that Discord, there's a channel where you can request stat lookups. There's stat databases that I have access to, or that Jonny has access to, that... You know, maybe you don't have access to Sports Info Solutions, but you want to know a stat from there. We can pull that up for you. So you can post those things in there. And then, like Jonny mentioned, this year, we are going to do something a little different with On the Shane page. We are still going to do our offense and defense review, but only one of those each week is going to go out on the public podcast feed. The other one is going to be in that $3 tier. And it won't always be the same one. Honestly, probably whichever one you guys know, longtime listeners, that whichever one we start with, we spend 45 minutes on, and then we speed through the second one. Whatever is we think people will find the most interesting is what we usually lead off with, and that's probably what's going to go in the public feed, and then we'll have a shorter second on the Shane Page episode covering the other side of the ball that will be in that $3 tier. In the $5 tier, you're going to get my past game review. Those typically run 30 to 40 minutes, breaking down 15 to 20 throws of Hurts. And then you'll get Wannabe GM's run game review and defense review that'll be shorter, like 5 to 10 minute pieces, covering different aspects of the game. And then Jonny mentioned his opponent previews and Wannabe GM's charting that he's going to be doing in that $7 a month tier. So there's no reason, if you like our stuff, you shouldn't go join the free tier. You're going to get ad-free stuff and weekly newsletters. But there's a $3, $5, and $7 a month tier that you can check out. And for the next 30 days, so until September 10th, we've got a code that you can punch in to get 50% off of your first month to come try it out during the preseason, see what you think. That code is FE86D. And one more time, that is FE86D. And we will put that out on social media and stuff as well. So if you had a hard time hearing that or you're driving, just check our social media accounts later, and that'll be out along with that graphic as well.
I think that's it. Should Shane, you're saying talk football, but the funny thing is you're putting this all on the public feed.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, we also, in the off-season, we actually didn't mention that, but we won't do a mailbag in season in the same way. We'll do like some more like weekly Q&A type stuff online in particular, because we're busy, and monthly mailbags in football season don't really work because you ask a question after week 1 and that question's redundant by week 3. But every off season, every single month, normally, hopefully, sometimes every 3 weeks in certain points, we do a mailbag and we answer a complete bunch of random crap, basically, that's not football related and football related. So for those that have never listened to one, they might be a bit like, what's going on?
Question 2 will be interesting.
Question 2, if you're not in the Patreon, you're going to have no idea what's happening. So just be aware. Normally this stuff is for a community of people who we know and like. Join the community is awesome. I will just say one final point, genuinely. I messaged you, didn't I? That shout out Corey. I went to go and meet him last week. First member I've met. So someone on the Patreon who lives in New York. Been around for a while, messaged me saying I'm in London, and very simply popped up to meet him for a few drinks. And when I say we speak to our community, we don't do that very often, but that's simply because we're growing, and also because I'm in London and you're not in Philly. But we do speak to a lot of people personally. I've met a couple of people before that as well, Alex and one other who I only know his Twitter name. But yeah, if you are in the Patreon, it is a really nice little community. So yeah, shall we? I'm sort of saying that because some of these questions are bizarre. So some people might be like, who the hell has asked that? And I'm like, you'd get it if you were in the community. Yeah, if a bit of an inside joke.
If any of our Patreon community do want to fly to Oklahoma, I'd be happy to hang out with you. I don't recommend Oklahoma as a destination, but yeah. So what we did throughout the off season is about every other week we did a mailbag where we would answer our Patreon members' questions. And so we've got 9 of those that we're going to run through today. And since it's the off season, some of them aren't football related, but that's half the fun sometimes. There is some football stuff in there as well. So Jonny, we'll go first to our question from Yako, who asked, actually he just said, rate the levels of existence for most to least. AJ Brown's effort in 2025, Grant Calcaterra's blocking skills, Nick Sirianni's ability to call offense, Manti Te'o's girlfriend, and Bigfoot. So most to least.
Right, so I did this actually honestly. So,
okay.
Right. Did you do it honestly, or did you put like Manti Te'o's girlfriend above AJ Brown's blocking?
Well, he didn't say AJ Brown's blocking. He just said his effort.
No, he didn't. So, in terms of most to least, let's go through them one by one. I put AJ Brown's effort top.
Same.
That might annoy the people. He didn't say blocking.
Well, don't discount the times he knew the ball was coming his way, so he decided to try.
Yes, exactly. And also, we didn't say any of them are good, but it's most to least. So
yeah, also don't discount the plays where he was the primary and he just gave up on it. But sometimes he was bothered to try, and so he comes in number 1 on the list for me.
Right, second, Sirianni's ability to call offense.
That's what I put.
Yeah. So as much as I wanted to put him lower, he still can run an offense. Whereas number 3, Grant Calcaterra can't block. Have you got Calcaterra lower?
Grant Calcaterra. So here, I'm going to run down my list for you. So my number 3 is Bigfoot. I don't think so, but maybe.
Bigfoot's more likely than Grant Calcaterra's blocking skills, yeah.
And then Manti Te'o's girlfriend, and then Grant Calcaterra's blocking. And here's why.
So you haven't done it properly. No, it's...
At least one person thought Manti Te'o's girlfriend existed. Nobody thinks Calcaterra's blocking ability exists.
Absolutely not true, Shane. We know the Eagles' offensive staff last year did. Multiple people did. They kept asking him to do it. Yeah. So you're completely wrong. Like there was paid coaches who earn like thousands of dollars more than us and have like fancy houses who thought that Grant Calcaterra could block as the front side and outside zone for multiple weeks of the season.
Did they really think he could do it, or did they just ask him to do it knowing he couldn't?
Pull and counter, Shane. Like, come on.
I'm not sure they actually thought he could do it. I think they just asked him to anyways.
Like, real story, like legit talk. But the first player on the Scouting Academy is Tyler Steen, which is good. And maybe a little Patreon nugget for those who are in the Patreon Discord. I've been direct messaging a certain legend called Brandon Fawn, who has been helping me out with my Tyler Steen analysis because he recently wrote about him and I thought he was quite harsh and I wanted to find out a little bit more about him. And anyway, I've been watching a lot of Tyler Steen, and you know what that means, Shane? There's a big problem. That means I've been watching a lot of Eagles offense from last year. And I happened to watch all reps because I wanted to watch them for the article. I watched every single rep of outside zone and I watched every single rep of outside zone from last year, which is very difficult to watch. I saw lots of Grant Calcaterra backside and lots of the edge blowing through him and blowing out the play on the black side. So I've got PTSD from Calcaterra, but I'm still putting him third. I've got Bigfoot fourth and Manti Te'o's girlfriend because, as far as I'm aware, that just doesn't exist, right? Like, I'm trying to think back to the story, but it is openly, it has to be least, right? Bigfoot has more of a chance, right? Because it is at least theoretically possible. Yes. So.
There was a Netflix documentary that was really interesting on the Manti Te'o thing.
I haven't watched that. Was it like not very good? Like people feel bad for him afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Okay. I love that. I need to get to it.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's worth watching. It's been years since I watched it, but
good start, Yako. Yako mentioning there's not a live notification in Discord. Yeah, we also have notifications going on, and maybe we'll look at that. Maybe is it because we're new setup? It might not have gone through. It hasn't gone through. We will look at that. Setups have changed, Yako. Riverside's changed. We'll be back. We'll make sure we get it in there. That's a job for Techman Shane to figure out why it didn't come in. Probably it is simply not set up.
It is live on Twitch, so that should have triggered the Discord to post it, but we'll look at that.
Off-air convo. Let's move on. This is the question that you have no idea if you're not in the community what is going on.
Yeah, if you either just skip the next 2 minutes or go join the Patreon with that 50% off code. Again, that is FE86D, and check out episode 152's mailbag. But a special brew asked, have either of your wives checked your Google history and demanded answers to you searching for strippers and their monkeys? Mine, well, I didn't Google any of those things. I actually explicitly said I am not Googling that, but no.
No, luckily I'm at the stage of my marriage after multiple years where my search histories are not checked. So they won't see what was the story again? The stripper monkey, what was it? The NFL coach, I think the coordinator.
Yeah. University of Texas.
Coach, that was it. He married, this was going out free, isn't it? I can't say what we said on the show because that was a mailbag show, so it's not live, so I won't repeat that conversation. But again, yes, that was the Texas coach, Jeff Banks, wasn't it?
Yes.
Pole assassin. Yeah, and we even got the picture up on Patreon. And wasn't the monkey at the wedding we found? I still bring it back. Good times. Yeah. Yes, I remember that. I enjoyed that very much. Right, moving on.
All right, number 3, Kaijella asked.
Kaijella, I've ruined my answer to this because of what I just typed in.
Oh. Well, no, technically you haven't because you just typed. So, wanted to know what are your last 5 internet searches. So here we go. Here's mine. Number 1, quarterly estimated tax payment due dates.
Oh god, that's a very different.
Best stretches to do after lifting weights. Bill's schedule. Zayflower's stats. And the word definitely, because I can never spell that word, and I have to Google it to figure out how to spell it. That honestly, at any given time, if you ask me what my last 5 searches are, the word definitely is probably in them.
Yeah, definitely is an annoying one. So my most recent one is NFL stripper monkey because of said previous conversation. Then you can tell this is really sad. Mine look really sad. My second one is Darius Cooper, Johnny Page 9. Yes, I typed in my own name on Google because I was trying to see how many times I've tweeted about Darius Cooper.
That's bad.
Well, because I bring up, whenever I do that, it brings up all my articles at BGN. I wanted to read if I've written anything about Darius Cooper. I watch so much I forget. Third one is Cowboys number 92. And I believe that is, what's his name? Quinton Williams, because basically Tyler Steen had 3 horrendous reps. One of them was Cowboys number 92. The one below that is Washington Commanders number 93, because that guy also beat him. So not very boring life, I know. And then number 5 is New Forest weather, because I'm going on holiday to New Forest tomorrow, and we are constantly living in a heat wave, constantly over here. Which not a heat wave to you because you're Americans and it's hot. Oh, it's hot, but like for us, it's hot here. And I am constantly frantically Googling the 5th heat wave of the summer, Shane. I'm not lying, the 5th we've had. So just see how hot it's going to be when I'm away, because I can't deal with more heat.
Yeah,
so
I think it's
not a very exciting 5 searches.
I think in the last in the last 30 days, the lowest high temperature we've had for a day is 99 degrees. It's miserable. It's miserable.
That's horrendous. That's horrendous. Right, let's move through it because it is late over here, and I don't want to skip any questions at the end.
Okay, number 4. SC37NV2 asked, by the way, we got to get you a nickname in the server so I can say it instead of read it, but that's a conversation for another time too. Provided that Moro Ojomo and Jalen Carter break out next season, let's say Milton Williams, should we franchise tag Ojomo to get some quality value out of him before he goes? I feel like teams are willing to overpay for a star defensive tackle. So I looked up some numbers on this, Johnny. I'll give those first.
Do it.
The tag number for defensive tackles this year was $27.1 million. They already have $26 million and AAV tied up in Jordan Davis and $38 million AAV tied up in Jalen Carter. So technically, Carter and Davis each only count for about $9 million against the cap in 2027, though. So could they tag Ojomo on top of that and tie up $44.6 million of their salary cap and 3 defensive tackles, which, by the way, is 15% of the salary cap? I mean, sure, they could, but I'm just going to say they won't. They haven't used a franchise tag since 2012 when they used it on Deshaun Jackson.
That's what they say. They don't do it. Harry doesn't like it, does he?
Yeah, and with Deshaun, they used the franchise tag just to buy time to negotiate, and they signed him. They've only ever tagged someone and had them play out a season under it one time, and it was L.J. Smith in 2008. So it's just not how they do business. It's too much to allocate to one position. The Moro Ojomo fans should enjoy this season because, unfortunately, he's going to be elsewhere next year.
I think I agree. They got Cuba DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, they're going to have to pay in the future. They've already, when they paid Davis, I think it was right. I think that was the moment we were like, it's Davis and it's Carter. If they had, we all guessed they were going to pay Carter. If they didn't pay Davis and they went Jomo and Carter, I could live with that as well. But the truth is that Davis has a more unique skill set, and Jomo's good. I don't think he's Milton Williams good yet. And to be honest with you, I think he's good / very good, but not great. And Howie often pays great. So, there we go. That's where I stand anyway. I think it's unlikely. I think teams are going to pay him a lot because teams want good players, and good players on the open market get paid great salaries because that's the way free agency goes, isn't it?
Yep, that's about it. So, okay, going on to number 5. Yakko said, there is a huge emphasis on the Shanahan and McVay offenses, but all of the other major offensive systems seem to be ignored. What are some of the other major offensive systems in the NFL? Is Andy Reid still using base West Coast offense and incorporating spread air raid concepts? Thoughts on that one, Johnny? Since I stole the last one.
Yeah, Chuck, you take the nice franchise tag stats and you give me a nice nerdy one. Yeah, I don't know where to start with this. I think offensive schemes are like way more blended than they have been in the past. I think it used to be like you run A or B. I mean, anyone runs anything. Like even like McVay a few years ago, like moved away from zone running games, and he was like a gap scheme guy. And I was like, this is McVay, who's been brought up in the Shanahan outside zone, outside zone. They're all running gap now. So I would say there's like a few main elements. What I think is interesting is that yes, we are now living in like with Shanahan and McVay. They've sort of taken over. I mean, Shanahan really, let's be honest, and then McVay's like a part of him. Where I would say about 5 years ago we were way more spread. So there was like a spread West Coast stuff. And when I say spread, I think of like everything's shotgun, everything's read option, 2x2 sets, like that kind of thing. What Cliff Kingsbury did very much with Washington last couple of years, that kind of thing when I think spread. Then you've got guys like Andy Reid, who are bang on, blend like West Coast, like more slants, but they're combining that with like the spread. And that was like the meta like 5 years ago. And now it's sort of moved. I think teams have got really good at stopping like RPOs and read options. Whereas a few years ago, that was like dominant. Now they've realized that you can actually stop the running back and the QB if your edge is really disciplined and stuff like that. So now we're going a different way. Why? Because again, there's a lot of too high safeties. So running the ball's now more of a priority than it has been. Like duos come back into fashion because too high safeties. So duos really, like you can run that a lot because of +1 in the box. So I feel like, yes, there are lots of other systems. Go through every single like old school system, but you're right. There's a lot more. There's no Manion's not going to come in and run one thing like no one does these days. The way the NFL is you're right. It's very, very blended. So I don't think they're ignored at all. I think if you look at McVay, he probably takes. I mean, they run a lot like 4-strong stuff, for example. The Fleur does quite a lot of that as well. And you wouldn't really call like 4-strong something that Shanahan would have done. Things like not Carl Shanahan, but older Shanahan, like 20, 30 years ago. I doubt we were using like 4-strong stuff out there. So that's a relatively new thing as well. So yeah, I'm just reading the exact question that was asked. There are other systems. Spread's still a big part of it. You still see a lot more shotgun, even though teams are going under center a lot. But yeah, the last couple of years, under center play action's definitely been a big thing. Next thing, will we just see more straight under center passing game? Like not under center play action, just straight like 5-7 step drop backs. Are we going to go back to that? Maybe. That's the next step. The Seahawks did it a little bit last year, but not many teams do that often. So everything's always changing. So this definitely get used to one thing in the NFL, it often changes. But I think most good offenses are a blend of a number of different things these days.
I think, by and large, defensive schemes dictate offensive evolution. I think defenses are more stationary in what they do and systematic, while offenses, like, I mean, sure, like the Chiefs are still air raid, West Coasty. The Cowboys are a pretty vertical offense. You always get teams with young mobile quarterbacks that run like the spread, RPO, college-based offense. I mean, Washington with...
Often with QBs that are younger as well. Jaden Daniels coming out, ran a lot.
Arizona with Kyler early on. But I think you mostly hear about Shanahan McVay offenses because they're the most successful, and it's a copycat league. But I mean, look at last year with McVay, all of a sudden, like running so much 13 personnel. That was a complete evolution. But it's still labeled as like the McVay offense because McVay's the innovator. Like, I think McVay and Shanahan drive a lot of the offensive innovation, but it's not like it's always the same principles. Like, they're willing to radically shift principles, but it's still called McVay's offense, and everybody tries to emulate it. So, okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think scheme talk can get a bit... Everyone says, like, oh, we're all running Shanahan. I mean, the Eagles this year are going to run full like Shanahan, because what is full Shanahan? No one runs outside. I don't understand the every play. There'll be loads of wacky stuff. So, as you said, it's very, very... Even I remember when Cliff came into the Cardinals, so I'm going off topic here, but I remember there was a big, like, oh, he's always going to run this air raid. It's going to be, like, 4 receivers on every play, and it wasn't. It ended up being like a 12 personnel team at times. Like, the Rams are suddenly 13 personnel, and you'd say, well, that wasn't a Shanahan thing as much. Like, things change very much. Why has McVay gone 13 personnel so heavy? Because he thinks that's the way to win in the modern NFL. get teams in base because teams haven't got 3 good linebackers and teams have really good nickel cornerbacks these days. So is that scheme or is that personnel? You can blend the two, can't you, sometimes as well? So yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, number 6. How many trades will Howie make before the start of the season? Pick 6 to Gene wants to know. I said 3. And
said
none
2.
of...
I was going to say over under should be 2.5, so there you go.
There you go. Yeah, I said 3, and none of them will make any impact on the roster unless he goes and gets a safety. For context, last year Howie made 4 trades in the month of August. He acquired Jacorian Bennett, who played 98 snaps, John Mechie, who played 31 snaps, and Sam Howell, who played 0 snaps. And then he traded for Fred Johnson, a guy who was on the team the year prior. And Fred Johnson actually played quite a lot. So Fred Johnson's on the team this year. Can't trade for him again. So unless it's a safety, I don't think they trade for anybody important. But Howie will make moves.
Yeah, I had 2. I made 3. I had like one probably like out of the blue, and then one that's just like a boring one, like a 7th rounder for a 7th rounder, kind of like, you know, like our guy that's not going to make the roster, your guy that's not going to make the roster. Maybe he makes ours, maybe he makes yours. That kind of like move. So I went 2, but I was going to say over and under is 2.5.
I think they should go look for a. I think they should go look for a cornerback that holds even more than Jacorian Bennett and bring him in. See if there is one.
Yeah, and get rid of a talented defensive tackle in the process to do so. Right, I really like this question, so let's do it. This is the last, the big one, I'd say. Then we'll skip through it because it's late and I've still got to pack. So, Special Brew, should the scheme dictate which 11 players are on the field, or should your best 11 players dictate which scheme you run? So I'll start if you don't mind. Depends how you look, if you're talking about like what system you're running or what, like, I don't know, depends how you look at scheme. Like, you can't go in and change your entire scheme because of your players. So in that sense, scheme identity has to be first. Like, you can't hire, in my opinion anyway, you don't hire McVay and he goes, right, none of you can run my scheme, so I'm going to completely change it. Like, no, I hired you to run what you want to run. You have to have foundational like principles. There has to be like, this is what I want to do. You can't totally reinvent everything. Like when Vic Fangio took over here, he can't say, right, you guys can't play match zone, so I'm going to play no match zone. Like, no, that's why you're hiring Vic Fangio, is to play match zone, right? But on top of that, there are a lot of different parts of your scheme that you can adapt. So the foundations might be the same, but you can alter it significantly. If you've got Quinion Mitchell, who you can lock up one side, right, now I can do something different with my safety. Now I can do something different with my field corner or whatever. So, in a good example is like you talk about like what's scheme. If you've got an unbelievably good 3 receivers, you've got 2 amazing stars, and then your second round rookie receiver ends up being unbelievable, you should run a lot of 11 personnel. Whether you call that scheme or personnel, I don't mind. But if your second tight end sucks and your third receiver is amazing, don't play loads of 12. And you might go, yeah, but I want to play 12. That's how I see the NFL going. Like, tough. It's not worth the trade-off. So, similarly, if you've got Cooper DeJean, I would be trying to live in, and you're not playing Cooper DeJean safety in this situation. I'm living in nickel because he can handle run responsibilities anyway. So why am I going basic and keeping DeJean off the field? So, in my opinion, you have to have a scheme identity as a coach. And if I'm Vic Fangio and no one on my roster fits a Vic Fangio scheme, A, why is Vic Fangio going there? B, who are you drafting? So you should be drafting to fit the scheme anyway. So players matter, but scheme is like the foundation. The best coaches, I guess, should have like foundational principles that they'll tweak, but they're not going to dramatically change. And then personnel and how they run that scheme depends on who the players are.
Yeah, I said it's not either or. It's a both and proposition.
Yes.
Like, you want your best players on the field, and your scheme should reflect that. So early on, that might look like altering your scheme to fit your personnel, but over time, you should be selecting the players that fit your scheme so it doesn't become trying to jam a square peg in a round hole. But you can do a lot of the same schematic things from like 12. For example, if you've got 2 good tight ends and you're used to being an 11 personnel team, you can still do the same. You can run the same concepts. You can detach a tight end, but it can give you more variety in the run game. And so there's ways you can. It's pretty rare that it's like, oh, my scheme just doesn't work with 2 tight ends instead of 3 receivers. you can work with that. So it's just all about ultimately how you construct the roster, and then what
Yes,
weaknesses you
exactly.
can expose in your opponents. Like the Rams jumping to 13 personnel last year. I mean, I mentioned that
Yeah.
earlier. Did the Rams go into the
Also, they have three
season?
tight ends.
Yeah, did the Rams go into the season saying we're going to run more 13 personnel than anybody in NFL history has done? Or did it just come together as they started to see things work and they saw that they could exploit things in an opponent? Like, I don't think McVay sat down in the offseason and thought this is the year of 13 personnel necessarily. I think as things started to work, there it started to click, and it's like we've got the players to do this, and they don't have the players to stop it, and so they just leaned into it. And I think that happens with a good coaching staff.
Yeah.
Or you can
Whereas
just
the
run,
Eagles last year
or you
went,
can
oh
just
my
run all
God,
hitches.
12
Yeah,
and 13's meta. Let's run 12 and 13 personnel. And they were like, your second tight end is Calcaterra. Yeah, but the Rams do it. And it's like, no. Like, if you've got 3 really good receivers, run 11 personnel. Again, if you're, I don't know, a Jim Harbour and you desperately want to run, well, you might, and Mike McDonald, and they might want to just run every play. Well, if the Chargers offensive line can't run block and they realise, actually, we've got Justin Herbert, maybe we throw a bit more. Like, it might not happen, but at the end of the day, you have to scheme your roster. But I guess my point is that a good team and organisation, general manager, should give you players to run your scheme to an extent anyway. May not happen year one, but it might, over time, it should. Right, let's wrap things up because I'm already late. Question 8 is what about you?
yes. A special brew asked, "Has Shane watched Labyrinth yet?" And I love that I finally got a question. Usually, all the questions that single somebody out are for Jonny. Is it because he lives in a cooler place than me? Maybe. Is it because
Multiple reasons, Shane.
Yeah.
We
Is
haven't
it
got
because,
time to discuss the variety now.
or is it because he lives in a strange land that people want to understand? And maybe that's it. But, anyways, I digress. I must disappoint you and say I have not. So maybe I'll probably never get another question again. But unfortunately, I just rarely have time to watch movies. A show in the evening is one thing, but a movie is a whole other level of time commitment I just don't have very often. Earlier this summer, my kids stayed a week with my parents, and I had a list of movies. I was like, we're going to watch some movies while they're gone. And we only managed to watch one of them. So, and going into football season, that is not going to improve. So I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, that's getting far worse.
Yes. So
It's not getting better. That's definitely getting worse. Right, let's wrap it up because I said 9:30 at the very latest, and I have not. So this is a short question, I guess, end on around the NFL question from PJ Russell. Every year there are teams that take a crazy leap and a team that takes a big fall. Who are your guesses for this year? I thought there were some obvious leaps. I didn't pick like the Bengals because of like injuries, I guess. For the leap, when I looked at like roster and record, I went Ravens because I think the Ravens could be good, and their record last year was actually worse than I thought. So I feel like it shouldn't be too. I think they were 8 and 9, if I can remember off the top of my head. I feel like it shouldn't be impossible for them to do better this year, especially if some training camp reports about their receivers making plays, and that would be nice for Lamar for once. They obviously really, really like Zay Flowers. You got Lamar and you got Derrick Henry, so I went Ravens as leap. What about you?
I said the Lions. I don't know if that counts because technically last year is the anomaly because they missed the playoffs. It was a season marred by injuries. They had a bad OC hire last year, but they've got an easier schedule this year. They get another crack at OC, although I don't love the Drew Petzing hire. That said, they did already lose their center for most of the season, and so that's probably going to hurt them. So I said the Lions, although they're in a stacked division. And I jotted down the Bengals, and I was like, I don't know, do they count? I don't know if we can say Burrow missing half the season is an anomaly anymore. It's an every other year thing. But obviously, if Burrow's healthy, I expect the Bengals to win more than 6 games. But my real answer is probably the Lions.
Yeah, interesting. And then I feel like we're going to have the same fall, and it's going to be boring, but have you picked the same as everyone? Patriots?
I
someone else.
I jotted down a couple other teams.
Give me some others, because I feel like the Patriots are obvious, because they were just the biggest imposters of all time in that Super Bowl last year. Like, if what's his name, Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, they're never there. They just shouldn't have been there, so they just seem too easy to pick.
Mark and I previewed the NFC and AFC East on Chalk Talk last week, and one of the things I said about the Patriots is I think their team, I think they are a quite a bit better team this year than last year, but the results won't be as good because that schedule is going to be harder and all of those
got
things.
To the Super Bowl. I just can't see that, but who knows?
I put the Bears as a potential. So the Bears had 7 wins in one-score games, and that's really hard to do. The Chiefs were 11-0 in one-score games in 2024, and then they were 1-9 in 2025 and missed the playoffs. So there's a lot of fluctuation there in the one-score games, and they relied on those. But they are headed into year 2 of Ben Johnson, and he seemed to start to figure Caleb Williams out. So I don't know if I really think they're a fall-off candidate. I'm a little leery of them, though. The one I put for sure, though, is the Broncos. I am not a Bo Nix guy. They had a lot of comeback wins and one-score wins last year. 11 of their 14 wins were by one score.
Or one score, yeah.
So, too, by the way, were 2 of their 3 losses. So 13 of their 17 regular season games were one-score games. They also play the NFC West this season, so they're going to get the Seahawks, the 49ers, what's left of them. They're going to get the Rams. We don't care about the Cardinals, but they're going to get the Bills. They're going to get the Patriots. So they have a tremendously difficult schedule, and I just don't believe in their quarterback. So
yeah, I guess my thing is that I think they might be worse record-wise, but I think they might still make the Super Bowl, which technically could be better. So that's why I didn't pick them. I think their one-score games were a bit fluky, but I unfortunately like Sean Payton a lot, and I think Knicks might get better. I think Waddle's going to be good there. So I feel like you're right in that their record might be worse, but they could still end up exceeding what they did last year. But there we go. At least you have someone else but the Patriots, because I went chalk, but screw it. I feel like it's the obvious chalky answer.
Yeah, I was pretty sure you would say the Patriots, so I was trying to come up with something a little different. Because I'm a man of the people. I'm willing to do that.
This is what also happened to Patreon, is I'm trying to get Shane to end because it's late my end, so wrap it up. I was actually going to try and do something on Tyler Steen immediately after this. So
all right.
I'm looking at the clock and thinking, do I have time? But I might smash it.
You don't need to sleep. Just do it.
Yeah, thank you.
It's how you become a man of the people, is you stop worrying about sleep and you just do the stuff.
Yep.
So, all right, well, that is going to do it.
Like a real entrepreneur there. Just do the stuff. Sleep is for the weak. He's got tattooed on his back in big bold letters.
Said like a guy who is currently 3:45 p.m. his time. But I digress. Let's get out of here. Thank you guys for joining us. We are planning to do a film review show for the preseason Week 1 game, assuming NFL Film cooperates with us next week. So you can check in for that. We'll be back into a normal groove of our On the Shane page as we head into the season. Again, please check out our Patreon if you enjoy our content. And, if you've missed our content throughout the off season, you can go join the Patreon. It's we never said this earlier, patreon.com/Eagles Film Room, and we'll tweet out that discount code as well. But come hang out with us there. We would really appreciate that. The podcast feed will be firing back up. I know Birds of the Roundtable has a show tonight, a 53-man prediction show, and there'll be lots of things starting to come back into your feed. So we're really looking forward to hanging out with you guys this season. And thanks for all the support. And Jonny, I'll leave the final words to you here.
Oh, wow. I have no final words. They are the final words. I need to pack and go and watch Tyler Steen. Let's get the hell out of here.
There you have it. We will catch you guys next time. Thank you for all the support. Thanks for watching along. We'll see you next week.